gosh, thank you so much for that incredible welcome. I'm just blown away by just how many beautiful people are in here tonight. I don't know if it's because of the pandemic, I haven't been out that much, but everybody is looking amazing. Give yourself a round of applause for showing up tonight. Man, it's just, yeah, I'm incredibly moved by a lot of the things that I've heard tonight from some of the other people who shared the stage and just from people who took the time to speak with me tonight about how they've been personally impacted by the work that I do and also the work that HRC is doing. You know, I'm very, very, very proud as a new member to be serving as a foundation board member for the Human Rights Campaign. Now, as a black man who also happens to be trans, I feel very lucky to be able to play a black man who also happens to be trans on the hit show 911 Lone Star on Fox. New episode on Monday. Just check that out if you want to, all right? I get to work alongside some incredible actors, including Rob Lowe, Gina Torres, and I play a character. You know Rob, all right, you know, he cute, I know, yes. And I play a character named Paul Strickland, who is a firefighter who navigates his own vulnerability while saving lives. Now, while we do film a lot of the show here in LA, most of it, the show is based in Austin, Texas, arguably one of the safest places in Texas for a trans person to live. But the reality is, Texas has no safe places for transgender people. No, in case you missed the news, Governor Greg Abbott recently directed his social services agency to investigate families that get medically necessary, age-appropriate, gender-affirming care for their kids and call it child abuse. The governor's directive also calls on teachers and medical professionals to report these families to the state and threatens the removal of their professional licenses if they fail to do so. I mean, can you imagine that? You're doing your job, right? You're a doctor. You're doing everything that you can, that every credible medical organization says that you should be doing to care for these kids, and you're going to be asked by the governor to violate your own ethics and forcibly out these children. Children. I mean, it breaks my heart for the children and for the people that love them, that this is what they're up against. Now, my character, Paul, runs into burning buildings. He puts himself into harm's way and fights to save lives. And for those of you who know a thing or two about firefighting, you know you don't run into a dangerous situation without making sure that your colleagues on your force have your back. So it's an apt metaphor for the position that we're in right now. Because right now in Texas and Florida and Alabama and North Dakota and unfortunately many other places, the house is on fire for our community. In Florida, the bills there would keep kids from using the word gay or transgender in a classroom. They prevent workplace trainings that address bias based on race, sexual orientation, and gender identity. Now, there are close to 300 bills just like this right now under consideration in state houses all across the country. 300 bills, at least. Now, HRC and other amazing organizations, including state LGBT groups, are like the firefighters. They are rushing into battle to fight this. It's exhausting, but it's vital. And the tyranny of this is that people like me and the trans kids around the nation need to know the same allies who had our backs when it came to marriage equality are stepping in to have our backs right now. Now, these attacks are very personal to me, very personal. And I know that they're personal to you as well. These laws are rooted in the same attacks that our community has faced for decades. They want to make it harder for people like me, for people like us to just exist in this world where we belong. Now, sometimes the stories we tell ourselves about our journeys gloss over the hard stuff and we rush to the happy ending that we so worked hard to get to, yes. But when we skip over those painful challenges, it robs us of all the opportunity to share our complete humanity. I grew up in Ann Arbor, Michigan. I knew I wanted to be an athlete. I knew I wanted to act. I knew I was different. But I was lucky enough to live in a progressive community where I was given space to be myself and to figure out my path. That path gave me the grit to make it on the boys' high school football team before I even knew I was trans, before I knew what the word was. I didn't know what it was. I just knew I wanted to play football, you know? And the coaches let me try out on the first day, and my mom, God bless her, she let me march out there as this badass kid, mostly bad, determined to prove that I had what it took. And when I look back on that kid, now I see so much strength, but I have such new respect for the vulnerability that I had back then too. Now, I made the team, I played fullback and defensive end, and when I was on the field playing this sport that I loved, I felt so alive, and I felt so powerful. And I also felt like I belonged as much as my teammates. And even though I didn't know the depth to which that was true, now, ironically, my team was named the Pioneers. That's why I'm wearing purple right now, the Purple Pioneers, baby, yes, all right? Now, I can't help but think about what it would mean if I had access to the information kids have today and what it would have meant to play with the boys, being seen as the boy that I was. I'll never know or fully appreciate what was lost in those moments for me, but I am damn certain that I want young people today in Texas and in Florida and across the nation to have the freedom to be themselves openly and fully. I want them to have the same sense of belonging that every child deserves. Now, that's what HRC is fighting for, and that is why I am in this fight. I get to use my athleticism every day in my job. I get to play a hero. I get to be my full self on Fox in middle America, okay? All right? Now, for me, you know, come on. I mean, Disney got them now too. I'm just saying, but it's Fox. That's where it airs, all right? Now, for me, playing sports was a lifeline that helped me find myself and feel complete. And right now, you know, there are horrendous anti-trans sports bans being promulgated all around the nation that will rob trans girls of the opportunity to compete as their true selves. Now, as a nation, we need to do better than this. We need to make our country more open and inclusive and not be slamming doors in the faces of kids who are trying to live their best lives. Now, we are not two separate communities. We are one. And I want to be sure that we show up to the fight ready to battle as one. Now, many of you in this room right now were here and we fought the government to acknowledge the devastation of the AIDS epidemic. We fought against Don't Ask, Don't Tell. When we fought for marriage equality. Now, you need to use those platforms, those powerful platforms that you have to fight for us and our families, to shape stories that humanize our lives, to call out the bullies and help expose their lies. This is the next chapter in our battle, right here, right now. This is our moment, and we need more firefighters in the fight. So help me. Help HRC bring more folks into this battle. It's time to run into the fire together. Who's coming with me? Let's go. Thank you. Thank you so much for your opportunity to speak, and thank you so much for being here, and thank you for joining us in this fight.